Good morning, everyone. Welcome to your Hear Your Truth Tuesday. I am Leslie Pogue, your host. And today is going to be a little bit heavy. I'm going to try and make it a little bit light, but today's topic is misplaced indignation, or also known out there in the world as a Karen. And let me just be clear about this. The term Karen has become this term for a white woman that is out there accosting basically people that, Black people primarily. I want to share a story about something that happened to me last night. It wasn't a white woman. She was actually Hispanic, I think. It was dark. So it's really hard to say. But the bottom line is it was a woman. And she was pretty young, actually. So I just think that between social media and the DEI, diversity, equity, and inclusion movement, people, especially women, are told that they have a voice and the right to use it. However, you should not use your voice at the cost of respect and common courtesy. So I was coming home late last night and my building is doing some renovations. So I'm not able to park in my spot or I have to leave really early. So I'm parking out on the street in advance. And so we have to park on the street for a little while. And so I parked my car and I'm near a school. There's an area where when the kids are dropped off and what have you, they block off an area where it says, you can only park for so long because it's basically a drop off park. That aside, it isn't, I mean, it's there, and that really wasn't the reason I was parking where I was parking, but it is something to consider. I pulled back and I parked very close to the car that was behind me, which was this person they were in their car. Now, I did not hit the car. I parked because I could park there. Basically. So if you ask me, why did you park there? Because I could. That's the answer. And that's actually how I should have responded to her, but I didn't. So when I got out of the car to come to walk home, she just went off on me like, you parked way too close to my car. You didn't need to park that close. There's all this room and blah, blah, blah. And as much as I talk about how to have the hard conversation, how to stand up for yourself, all of these things, in the moment, especially when it's not a regular occurrence, I can't remember the last time I was affronted that way. And I dealt with blatant racism, like blatant racism in my face. And that I know how to handle because it's clear. But this was just misplaced indignation because why are you attacking me when I literally did nothing to you? I didn't block a view. I didn't hit your car. I'm being attacked for parking. I'm just a little confused. So, but here's the thing that's also a little bit nutty. I actually found myself feeling like I did something wrong. So I actually caught myself actually starting to defend my actions as if I had actually done something to this person. But what's great about when you do get in the habit of practice, and it still might take a while to kick in, mind you, I talk about this all the time. I train other people all the time. But even when I find myself in those situations, mainly because, like a lot of people, I do not like confrontation. Truly, unless it is absolutely necessary. To me, there are only certain things that you need to fight about. A parking space certainly is not one of them, especially a parking space that is on the street that is just wide open. But I did realize in a moment of my trying to explain, I caught myself and I'm like, this is a needless conversation. Now, I didn't say that out loud, but in my head, I'm going, this conversation is ridiculous. Like this is a needless conversation. So I basically said to her, you have a right to your opinion. And I walked away. Here's what I also want you to take away from this. The sad thing about that is I was actually angry for the rest of the night, to the point that I had a hard time falling asleep. Because, of course, when these things happen to us, we have those internal, this is what I should have said, or even just the internal fights that happen, you know, that you could have said, that you could have done. But in today's environment, in today's climate, you have to really catch yourself. And this is how I ultimately talked myself off the ledge. That could have been a very different situation for both of us, quite honestly. She didn't know me. And if I was a violent person, I could have really reached over and hurt her. Or I actually, if I carried a weapon, I could have shot, stabbed. Any number of things could have gone wrong with that, and vice versa. She had another person in the car. It looked like a gentleman, looked like a guy. And in the moment, in the time I was standing there having that conversation with her, I very easily could have been shot, could have been stabbed, could have been, there's so many things that could have gone wrong in that situation. So, all that to say, we really have to be cognizant and aware of one, the things we're going to stand up for, because I do agree, especially as women, we do have a voice. We should, and women of color also, we do have a voice, and we do have the right to use that voice to defend ourselves, to defend other people, to support the common decencies of a civilized society. What we don't have the right to do, social media, is to use our voice to just be right. And what I mean by that is not even to be actually right, but to be right in your own mind, in your own moment, in your own space. Because again, we are sharing this space with other people. And truly, there are so much bigger things to fight for. You know, right now we have so much civil unrest. We have global warming. We have a financial crisis. We have racial and economical and cultural divides that we have never seen. I'm 53 years old. I've never seen this level. Of course, I've seen different types of inflation and different financial situations, but I have never seen this at this level. And I have to say, choose your battles. Choose to fight for other people. Choose to fight for those things that actually do infringe on your civil rights, on your space, on who you are as an individual. But also be respectful of the people around you. Be respectful of their rights to share your space, their right to be who they are, their right to have their own voice. That's why my response to her wasn't what was actually rolling in my head much later after the fact, of course, because like I said, we all have those arguments in our head of what we could have, would have, should have said. And believe me, there were quite a few things that came to mind. But I did say in that moment, you have a right to your opinion because that much is true. And that's the tool I want to leave you with. When someone approaches you or attacks you, especially as an adult, in a way that you're like, what is happening right now? Like, for real? Just let them know. Just stop it by saying, you have a right to your opinion and walk away. Because the last thing we have time, space, or even emotional space for is nonsensical conversations like and misplaced indignation. So I hope that was helpful for you today. I'm sure a lot of you have run into these kind of situations and probably will again in your lifetime. So just keep in mind of how you have control over it and how you have a right to also just be who you are and defend your own space, but not at the cost of your own values. All right, so as always, I want you to go to my website, check out all the wonderful things that are coming up. Please go to the webinar page to see all the webinars that are coming up. I have a free webinar coming up on September 22nd around the 28 Days to Happy coaching program that's coming up. Always follow me on Facebook. Always follow me on Instagram. And as always, until next time, go, be, do.